Really quickly wanted to make a video here today on Canopy Growth Corp. Ticker is CGC. And back like maybe 2 years ago, when a lot of cannabis stocks were getting just a lot of attention, right, for various different reasons. One, because we were hearing that cannabis was going to be a little bit more, I guess, not as regulated on the federal level. Obviously, depending on where you live in the U.S., from on a state level, cannabis has different laws in different states. Obviously, more states being more lenient, and then other states being pretty strict on some cannabis laws and things like that. But today there was some big news in regards to marijuana restrictions, specifically just across the United States, and it's definitely impacting Canopy Growth Corporation. So 59 cents at the time of this video for CGC stock. Obviously, CGC was one of those stocks for a while when the cannabis sector was really starting to come into the picture, right? People were starting to understand how cannabis could become a profitable business and things like that maybe 2 years ago. I mean, CGC, like I said here, December of 2022 was at $4.46. If we take a look at the 5-year chart here, I mean, CGC was at $45 back here in February of 2021, and it was even as high as $50 back here in April of 2019. So we're talking about, like, obviously there was a stock bull run here where we did see a lot of cannabis stocks start to really run up towards the end of 2020 and into 2021, and then obviously CGC has had a massive kind of downfall here, a ton of negative price action correlating to this stock specifically. But if we take a look at Canopy Growth stock as a whole, they consider themselves one of the leading global cannabis companies dedicated to unleashing the power of cannabis to improve lives. Our vision is an expression of what we value and what we're building towards. We are channeling the inner power of this extraordinary plant to build an organization made with intention and defined by purpose, serving a new model for transformational industry. So obviously they have a lot going on in kind of in their entire ecosystem. They have a ton of brands that are actually underneath the umbrella of Canopy Growth. In the Canada, this is a Canadian-based company, by the way, but they also have things in the United States as well. Martha Stewart CBD is what they're backing and things like that. So I mean, you can see the brands throughout Canada, the United States, and then international as well. They have some brands here, Spectrum Therapeutics, This Works, etc., etc. So obviously investing in a cannabis company, specifically one like Canopy Growth. A lot of people, just doing some research here, a lot of people on Canopy Growth don't like the executive team or the CEO, I guess, on this stock specifically. So up 30% today, and for this reason right here, you can see here the HHS, the Health and Human Services of the U.S. the U.S. Health and Human Services, calls for easing restrictions on marijuana, sending cannabis stocks higher. A spokesperson for the Drug Enforcement, the DEA, told CNBC on Wednesday the move could potentially expand the market for cannabis, sending shares of Canopy Growth, Tilray, and Kronos Group higher. Marijuana is currently classified as a Schedule 1 drug, a designation reserved for drugs with currently no accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, such as heroin, which I think we all can agree that it's not on that sort of level in the slightest bit. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has recommended reclassifying marijuana as a lower risk drug, which would in turn ease restrictions on the budding business. A spokesperson for the DEA told CNBC Wednesday it is currently a Schedule 1 drug under the Controlled Substances Act, meaning it's deemed to have no acceptable medical use and high potential for abuse, despite being legalized for recreational use in nearly half of states. Its federal classification alongside drugs such as heroin and LSD have hindered the industry's growth. Now, going all the way back right here, after enjoying sales surge during COVID-19 pandemic, the industry is a free fall as investors turn away and capital dries up, right? It kind of matches up similarly to the chart. When we talk about COVID happening here, let's look at the dates. We're talking about March 2020, right? We're looking at March 2020 here. And then you see this massive spike, right, in pretty much the second half of 2020 when everyone was at home, and obviously in that situation, cannabis use was going up, the interest in cannabis use, and people just overall using cannabis, right? You're at home all day, people weren't working and things like that, so it makes sense that there was a ton of capital and a ton of revenue being pumped into this specific market. But you can see here, after a federal reclassification could potentially expand the market for marijuana, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry in the United States and a cash crop in many new legalized states. Obviously, I talked about it before. I think a company like Canopy Growth, which is fully just like putting their hands in a bunch of different pots to establish themselves in this specific space. If there was some sort of reclassification, I think at least in the United States, it could really help these major cannabis companies that have already expanded so much and have their hands in so many different places. Kind of that last key, that last turn of the engine was to get that reclassification and just that, I guess, that approval on a federal level for marijuana use in the United States, because I know it's a lot more lenient in Canada specifically, and I really don't have any idea about the laws and things like that in other countries. So again, definitely an interesting type of stock here, up 29% today, obviously. But I mean, this is a stock that, like I said, not that long ago, we're talking about not that long ago, just less than a year ago, less than a year ago, was trading at $4.77. So again, drop a like on this video, guys, hit that subscribe button, and as always, have a great day.